Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx in association with Clint Patrick and Adrenaline Pro Performance. Today I'm delighted to be joined by pro heavyweight Nick Campbell, 1-0. You got that first fight under your belt, Nick. First things first, how are we doing?
Luke, good. I'm good, thanks. Just got my next date for my fight on the 22nd of May out in Serbia. So just getting ready for that, really. Ticking over, making sure we're ready come 2 weeks' time. So everything's going well. Ready, all firing on all cylinders, and just getting geared up for the next fight now.
Yeah, exciting time. So we'll try and do this in some sort of chronological order because there's quite a few things I want to go through with you today. So we'll start with the most recent boxing news, if you like, before we get onto your fights. And that was Canelo Alvarez stopping Billy Joe Saunders in 8 rounds. We spoke off camera that you've caught up with some of the highlights of the fight, but the way the fight came to a conclusion, Billy Joe Saunders being pulled out on his stool to what looks like a grotesque eye injury. Nick, first off, was you surprised by the victory? Who did you have winning the fight going in? Did you back Canelo? Did you think Billy Joe Saunders would cause the upset? And then how do you sit on the whole idea of, did Billy Joe Saunders quit? Was he right to get pulled out of the fight?
I don't think anybody will challenge Canelo unless they're a cruiserweight or a heavyweight or something, to be honest with you, the way the guy's fighting. He's unbelievable. I think as well, the thing about Canelo that gets me is you look at how he trains like he's got nothing. Every training session, he's putting on 100%. He's got Eddie Reynoso, who's probably one of the best trainers in the world at the moment. He's honed his craft, and I don't really see how you beat him. Unless there's another Canelo out there somewhere, I don't really see how he gets beat at that weight. I know a lot of people talk back to, Floyd Mayweather, but, Floyd Mayweather fought him at super welterweight.
Yeah.
So he's a completely different fighter now. Completely sits at that weight, really comfortable, and credit to Billy Joe Saunders. He put up a really, really good show. I think I had it 5-2 roughly going into the last round. I had a quick flick through it, but from what I'd seen, Canelo was just doing too much. Some close rounds, but that right uppercut he caught me right on the button, and the damage it done to his eye. Obviously, it was as what it is. I just really couldn't see past him. I thought Billy Joe was going to go in and give a good account of himself. Gypsy, he's a warrior. He went in there and done that. He can be proud of how he performed. Obviously enough he'll be hurting because he's not won the bout, but nothing to be ashamed of. But I couldn't really see any past Canelo, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. Like I say, some mentions on social media, and you can take from that what you will on social media, but leveling at him that he quit. And I think it's unfortunate that people are saying that about him. I know he's had previous in the past, and he called out Daniel Dubois after the Joe Joyce fight. But from what we've seen in the fight and at the end of the fight, is that it seemed to be Mark Tibbs that made the decision. So it's difficult for Billy Joe Saunders to, even if he wanted to carry on, his corner's pulled him out. So he's not quit himself. He's been pulled out of his corner.
No. I kind of feel that Daniel Dubois' corner should have pulled him out in that fight. It shouldn't have been left up to Daniel Dubois to take the knee. Obviously, he mistimed his jab, and Big Joe Joyce hit him with that ramrod jab that he'd been hitting him with all night in that one particular area on his eye socket. And it's easy to sit there and say, I would never do that. But see, until you've got a big 6'7", 18 stone guy ramming a jab in your face all night and your eye feels like it's going to explode, it's got to be taken out with his hands. It's got to be up to the coach. Pretty sure Billy Joe would have went out on his shield, but you live to fight another day. There's a tomorrow. It's not like the gladiators in the Colosseum, and it's easy for all these keyboard warriors and guys who've never been in a boxing ring in their life to sit there and go, if I was, you wouldn't have been in there in the first place. So how can you comment? And like I say, Mark Tibbs is a world-class trainer, and if he's made the decision to pull Billy Joe out, then from my point of view, it would have been the right decision, and it is what it is. Like I say, you live to fight another day. There's more to life than boxing. Don't get me wrong, there's not much more to life than boxing, but if it means that you're going to get out of there healthy and, live to fight another day, get back in the ring, then I completely agree with it. And I don't think that Billy Joe Saunders should be ashamed at all to come up against one of the pound for pound, possibly one of the all-time greats now. He's in that kind of, he's not, if he's not there already, he's not far off it. So there's no shame in the defeat. He gave a good account of himself. He got caught with a shot, his eyes busted up. if that was me and I was the trainer, I'd like to think I'd pull my fighter out of there as well. So shouldn't really be left up to the fighter. The trainer made the right call.
Yeah, very well said. So let's go back to April. You made your professional debut. I was lucky enough to catch up with you in the fight week bubble. Very excited to transition, as you said at the time, from rugby to boxing. You didn't want to be looked at as a gimmick. You wanted to be taken serious. You went in there and got the job done. That's a second round TKO victory over Peter Frolich. Let's start off from the fight night. When the nerves are there, the butterflies are there, and you finally arrived at the moment. You've trained hard for it. Take us through, in your words, what was that moment like as you was making the ring walk, coming out the dressing room, the excitement, the buzz?
It was pretty surreal. Like I said to you, that I never in my wildest dreams thought that I'd be fighting for my debut on a matchroom card on Sky Sports. So the way I looked at it was, soak it all in, take every moment and use it to your advantage. I've been in similar positions in the world of rugby where the cameras are on you, you're under different arena, different sport, but it's the same kind of nerves and the same thought process you go through. So I just tried to take it all in my stride, really. I knew I was going to beat Frolich. I'd done all the training. I knew that he is what he is. He's a journeyman, tough guy. Normally went the distance with quite a few different lads. So I just knew that if I went out there, set a high pace and gave a good account of myself, that I would get the job done. But I just wanted to perform well, showcase what I can do, showcase that, it's not a gimmick as such. I'm here to try and, do something in the world of boxing. And there was no better platform to do it on. But the nerves were definitely going, walking down the runway towards the ring. And, it's mad. Like, I had a little walk around the arena before my fight, and there's a big 10-foot poster of you up on the wall. And it's great. It was crazy, literally what you dream of when you set out on your boxing career. That's a night that you would dream of. I'm never ever, I don't think I could really top it. The only way to top it would have been if there was a crowd, but no, it was unbelievable. What an experience. The fight weekend, the bubble with everybody else, cameras, action, interviews, everything. It was just a great experience. One that I'll try and feed off of in the future. And I wouldn't have changed it for the world, to be honest with you. It was an amazing experience.
You mentioned there, of course, it was behind closed doors, and fingers crossed we look like we are returning to normality slowly but surely. 70,000 fans were packed out at the AT&T Stadium last night, which was an amazing sight. But obviously transitioning from rugby, we've spoke about the physical differences and the mental differences, but with rugby, you was playing in front of packed out stadiums week in, week out. To make your boxing debut in front of no fans, was it as you expected? Was it, a shock to the system when you got in the ring? Like, take us through when that first bell went. Did it feel eerie? Did it feel scary, or was it just focused on the opponent?
Do you know what? I mean, it's well documented that obviously I had come from the world of rugby, but I actually boxed 4 years amateur.
Yeah.
So I was used to it in a certain point of view that you walk out in some amateur shows and there's nobody there, especially like the national championships and stuff like that. If it was the quarterfinals or semi-finals, you go out and there's 10 people there to watch you. So was it odd feeling to have all the cameras there, to have the setup there and everything, but actually boxing not in front of a lot of people wasn't the oddest thing. And maybe that was a good thing in a way, because it's a good transition for me. I can go out there and do that, and then the next more of a crowd there, and I feel my way into that. But it was more the scale of the event. I've never walked out in front of all the camera, the Sky's there, Eddie Hearn's there, guys on the outside of the ring, the commentators. The whole event itself. It was unbelievable. But not too different from stepping at an amateur fight, to be honest. So in that aspect, I didn't really mind it so much.
Yeah, it's good to hear. So how many times have you managed to watch the fight back? Is it the kind of thing where you've got it on the TV in the living room on loop? It's constantly playing. Bring your pals around to have a watch?
Nah, listen, I watched it one time, and it was just literally to see anything that I could work on going forward. Not much you could take from that, to be honest. Like I said in the interviews after, the sparring that I'm getting and stuff at the moment is a lot higher level than that, and a lot more challenging. I learn more from my sparring than I will doing that fight. But just had a watch at it, took on board some of the points that the commentators and different people had said to me, after the bout and during the bout, listening to it and stuff like that. And I just watched it, moved on from it, parked it, onto the next one. So it was a great, like I say, great experience, and I probably in 10, 20 years time I'll look back on it and, you know, think, but for now that's that done. Let's move on to the next one.
You know, just quickly before we move on to the next fight, you mentioned there your post-fight interview. Now there was a bit of a humorous moment as you had your post-fight interviews full of adrenaline, and there was, you know, rumors or maybe like a misunderstanding that there was a couple of cuss words in your post-fight interview there, and I noticed that you took to social media to clear that up. It was quite.
I know. So I think I said I felt my hand. I never quite got away with It's the Glasgow accent. Just said, you know, son, I heard that. You never swore. So no, it was just a misunderstanding. Like I say, from my rugby days, we got a lot of media training and stuff like that when we were back playing for Glasgow and stuff. So I know the adrenaline and everything was going, but I'd like to think I wouldn't slip up that bad in live TV.
Yeah, it was amusing. But let's look forward. May 22nd, it's quite a quick turnaround. Obviously, with a fledgling boxing career, you're going to be looking to be as active as possible. The next fight, May 22nd, out in Belgrade, Serbia, which is a bit left field, you know, given that you was on Sky Sports in the UK, a massive platform, and now you've kind of gone the spit and sawdust route of these small horse shows in, you know, like back end European countries, which is sure to be quite an experience for you, Nick.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, with the current climate at the moment, there isn't obviously a lot of shows going on in the UK, other than the big TV shows. And obviously, I'm not a matchroom fighter, so it was great to get on there. I hope, you know, further down, you know, next, whenever that I can get on another matchroom show as soon as possible. But just when there was an opportunity to get another fight under my belt against another opponent, I couldn't really, you know, like I say, I'm not young. I'm not old, but I'm not young. So I'm just looking to get out and get as much experience as possible. My manager, Mark, came to me and said there was potential to get me on this show at the Belgrade Hilton, I think it is. And it was just another opportunity to get out there, get another, you know, looking to go out there, get another win under my belt and move on to the next one. So like I say, I mean, it would be great to go out and fight in front of Sky Sports every week, but obviously those cards are stacked at the moment. Obviously, there's not that many shows going on. There's a lot of boxers looking to get out. So I'm not fussy. I'll get out and fight wherever. Do you know what I mean? I'm just wanting to build my record and get experience. That's all I'm interested in. So when those opportunities come up to get on the matchroom shows or Sky Sports, we'll take them with both hands. But if they're not there, then we have to go and look elsewhere. So that's what we've done.
Do you ever go out to Serbia in your rugby playing days? Do you ever any games out there?
Never. I was actually supposed to go out to Serbia last year, 2020, with the Scottish national team for the Belgrade Winners. I think that just took place there for this year. I was supposed to go last year with Scotland, but it was in April, and that was like right when everything kicked off with coronavirus, so that got cancelled. I know a couple of lads that have been out there, and I would chat to a couple of Scottish amateur lads that were out there recently, so I've got a kind of rough idea of what to expect. But the venue and stuff actually looks really nice. It's the Belgrade Hilton, and it looks, the guy who's running the show looks as if he's putting on quite like a decent. It's going to be a decent show. It's not, you know, a wee back hall or as a small show, but it looks as if it's going to be run pretty well. So I'm looking forward to it.
You know, looking at the event itself, there seems to be a few British names on the card. So is there going to be UK television for it, as far as you're aware? Will it be streamed somewhere, I guess?
Yeah, there'll be a pay-per-view stream, obviously, that just now, like, so these shows would normally get a couple of thousand people going to watch, but obviously with the restrictions and stuff, they're not allowed that. There's a pay-per-view stream, so I should hopefully have the details for that in the next couple of days, and when I do, I'll post it on all my socials and stuff like that. So for anyone interested, keep an eye out, and I'll be putting the details up for that soon.
Yeah, no doubt, and I'm sure we'll share that on the SimBoxx social media channels as well. But
I know, much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So this fight is, as we say, it's only coming around 5-6 weeks after the first fight on the Conor Benn undercard. How long did you give yourself off after that fight before getting back into the gym?
The Sunday and the Monday, then I was back in on the Tuesday. So, like I say, I flew home and then just straight back in and started working on what I needed to work on. So, yeah, like I say, I mean, it wasn't a very taxing fight. You know, it was just over a round, really. It was 40 seconds into the second round. So, like I say, I'm fit. I always keep myself fit. I'm always in training. And like I said just now, you need to keep yourself fit at this stage of your career, because you never know when you get that call. Could be 2, 3, 1 week's notice that we can get you on this show. So you just need to go with the flow. But yeah, good night. On to the next one. 2 days to kind of recover, eat some junk food, and then straight back into it. So I've been raring to go since then.
Yeah, we look forward to May 22nd. So while I've got you, Nick, I just want to touch on a couple of recent heavyweight bouts, given that you're part of, a bustling, busy division, especially at the very top of the division. Of course, you're just starting out in your career. But Derek Chisora against Joesph Parker. Some people said it's controversial. Some people are happy that Joesph Parker won. He won, I think it was a split decision. It was very tight. He was dropped in the first round. How did you see the fight, Nick? Did you have Joesph Parker winning? Did you think Derek Chisora had done enough?
Do you know what? I actually done you asked me to do a prediction for you on Twitter, and I said that I thought Parker would win on points, just purely on his height advantage, reach advantage, and he's a superior boxer to Derek Chisora. But having said that, it could have really went either way. It was very, very, very close. Derek Chisora seems to get better with age, just that relentless pressure he put Parker under the whole time. Never really give him a minute to breathe. And I don't actually even know if Parker was truly prepared for that. As in, not in terms of being physically prepared, but just mentally prepared for somebody going to be in your face for that. Because it's very difficult to replicate that in training. There's very few guys 19 stone wrecking balls like Derek Chisora. So, and that was a great fight. It could have went either way. In terms of it being a robbery, not for me. I mean, like you said, it was a split decision. It could have literally went either way. And it depends what some judges are looking at. A lot of people like the go forward, constantly throwing, constantly slugging style of Derek Chisora, but not everything was landing cleanly. And then for some of the judges, they might like Parker's back foot boxing. He kind of started to pick Derek Chisora off at stages in the fight, and that might have just been what caught the judge's eye. So it's very difficult. That's the problem with boxing at times. It's very much how it's perceived by that person. And you could go and say, I can't see how you scored that. And they say, well, I can't see how you scored that way. It's just, it is purely perception. But no, it was a close fight. And I think they were talking about doing a rematch. I think it'd be a great rematch. It's an opportunity for Derek Chisora to go out and try and put him under more pressure. And it's an opportunity for Parker to, maybe, avoid it, for the avoidance of any doubt in the next bout, how he would change his game plan up. But it was a fantastic fight, really entertaining, and I think that's the type of fights we needed. Heavyweight, really, at that top level. So I don't really think it was a robbery. Could have went either way. Yeah, I know I might sound like I'm sitting on the fence, but that's genuinely how I seen it. So, aye, one of them.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, to be honest, Nick. But with you mentioned there that the rematch, and that could make a lot of sense. You look at the division, as much as we say it's quite a busy division, but you got the belts wrapped up in a possible 2-fight deal with Fury and Joshua. Wilder's on the comeback, and he's going to be taking on, like, with all due respect, a lesser opponent. Andrew Ruiz the same. So you're starting to look through the division, and there's not too much by way of options for the likes of Derek Chisora and Joesph Parker. One thing that I wanted to ask on that subject of Joesph Parker, and again, I mean this with all due respect, a lot of people say he's too nice of a guy to be, almost as if he's lacking the killer instinct at heavyweight. He doesn't really seem very spiteful or very nasty, maybe. Do you think that's a hindrance? Do you see where people are coming from with that kind of mentality?
The person you see outside the ring and the person you see inside the ring are two different animals. It's much the same as any sport. As soon as you cross that line and you step through those ropes, you become a different person. So I don't really buy into that. He's too nice a guy. I mean, look at Golovkin. Golovkin's one of probably the nicest guys you'll meet outside of the ring. But when he gets inside the squared circle, he's a stone cold killer. So, maybe he tries to, I don't know. I think Joesph Parker's a great fighter. I think in his four previous victories before that, he had three stoppages or 2 stoppages? So listen, he knows, he's fought at the top level amateur. He's been a world champion. So I don't know. I mean, that's just the way the guy fights. Yeah, like I say, he outboxed Derek Chisora at points. If he had got engaged in more of a fight, it would have probably suited Derek Chisora. So it's a difficult one. It's like I say, it's easy to sit back and kind of say you should have done this, you should have done that, until you've got a 19-stone Derek Chisora in front of you trying to take your head off, it's very difficult to know what you would do. So, I don't really buy into that. I think he's been an ex-world champion. He's looking to get back up to that level. And like I say, when he steps through those ropes, I'm pretty sure he turns into a different guy. So, no real questions like that from me.
Yeah, very well said. Well, Nick, it's been a pleasure to catch up. I'll let you get back to your day. I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future. It'd be kind of cool if we'll arrange something for while you're actually out in Serbia. You can give us a little bit of a nosy around the setup. And but first and foremost, I wish you the best of luck with the fight. And yeah, we'll catch up again soon.
Appreciate it. No, that'd be a pleasure. And just give me a shout anytime. And thanks to everybody for listening in. And hopefully see you all soon.